How are you guys doing? Welcome to the show. If you saw the caption, you saw that it said review of the fights this past weekend. We are reviewing the fights over this past weekend. I always try to throw relevant news to boxing out when I do a show as well. And remember, we can talk about anything that you want to talk about as long as you can correlate it back to boxing. I'm your host of Boxing Fans Talk TV, T to T, and I want to know how y'all were doing. How is everybody? I hope you guys had a wonderful and blessed weekend. So let's get into it. Okay. We're going to talk about the Rigo versus Casa Mero fight. Okay. This was a weird fight to me. Um, I got mixed feelings about it because I'm a fan of Rigondeaux. He is he was back in the day one of the most avoided fighters too, but he fights in the lower weight class. I think he used to fight at 122, and he decided to move down to try to fight in the 118 division. So I don't even know how to put it in order. In my opinion, I just start from what I feel and who I thought won the fight. I thought Riga Dow won the fight. Why? Because he was the only one landing punches. He had total control over the fight. Drew Titan in the building. What's up, King? So he had total control over this fight, Regan Dow. And Casamero didn't know what to do. He did not have an answer for him. He tried to regurgitate what he heard, in boxing news or other promoters saying that Regan Dow is boring. But my point is, it takes two to fight, right? It takes two people to fight. So if he's boring, then make him fight. You can't lay everything at Riggindale's feet. What did you do? Because from what I could see, neither one of y'all threw that many punches. But the person who had control and was dominating was Riggindale. He made you look silly. He made you look mediocre. It was something proved in that fight, even though it wasn't a scrappy fight. Don't get me wrong, I want to see a scrap too. But you didn't make it a scrap, Casimir. Um, everybody knows how Rigo fights. Everybody. Everybody knows how he get down. There was no secret going into this fight. You didn't push the button. You didn't throw your hands either. In fact, you might have been scared because you know he got power and you know he could catch you. But Regan, I will say this to you, brother. We I love you as a fan. Like, I know a lot of people love you as a fan. You're an awesome fighter. But people do like to see scraps. So when people say that you're boring, I would never say that because I see the science in everything you're doing. But I understand why other people will say that you're boring because people come to be entertained and they want to see a scrap. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean you got to fight your opponent's fight. And that's something I never understand. You get these fighters that's maybe from the Philippines, maybe especially the Latino fighters. I'm not sure about Puerto Rican fighters, but Mexican fighters and other Latinos say, well, they ran around the ring. It's called ring generalship. He's not supposed to stand still and let you just pound on him and fight on him. I don't get what this notion is that Latino fighters think where you could choreograph how your opponent's supposed to move and behave so you can have a good fight, so you can have the fight that you want. Everybody comes in with a strategy or their type of fighting. Like I always bring up Pacquiao. I don't think boxing trainers or coaches purposely train their fighters to fight like him because there's so many things wrong with that. However, it works for Pacquiao. So that's him putting his own stank on it. And that's what Guillermo Rigondeaux does. He put his own stank on it. Now, I heard what Rodney Shields was saying in the corner. And I gotta agree with what Rodney Shields was telling him. And Rodney Shields was probably frustrated because like Abner said, that In the gym, they work on throwing punches in bunches, and Rigo seemed to know how to do that. But when it's showtime, when he under the lights, he don't necessarily do that. But we know because all we gotta do is look up some of his old fights. We know that he can scrap. What I think was going on is the rehydration of Casemiro was fishy to it was fishy to me, but it might have been fishy to Rigo. Like for real, how do you weigh in at 118 and balloon up to over 140 pounds? I don't even know how that's possible. I wouldn't, bat my eye if you walked around at 180 and then came down to 147 because at that point if you weigh about 147 or 140s, then that means you can grow, you can get bigger. Um, you can gain weight. You probably have a physique that can tolerate that type of weight or more weight. But 118, that's like below the threshold. Like only certain people can walk around with that weight. You have to have a stature to hold, for that weight to be comfortable looking. Like for instance, I'm about 5'10". If I drop down to 118, put me in the hospital because I'm gonna look crazy. But if I was 5'1" or something like that, or maybe 5 foot or maybe 4'11", and I drop down to 118, then that could look normal. So I don't see nothing normal about somebody weighing in at 118 and ballooning up to over 140 pounds. I wouldn't want to fight your ass neither. So his strategy was to counterpunch you, connect, make you look stupid, and hopefully he was going to win the fight. Now, Casimiro won the fight, and I'm not mad at the decision, even though I thought Rigondeaux won. The fans thought Rigondeaux won because they showed the poll at the bottom of the screen, and the fans voted, 60% or maybe a little more that Rigondeaux won. Why I'm not upset with the decision? Because I always feel that if somebody has a title or they're the champion, you have to take it from the champion. And if you're not taking it from the champion, then how can you win the fight? That was my problem with the Charlo fight and Harrison fight, the first one. I feel like Harrison did a great job boxing him. He may even have outboxed him, but I thought they was giving as much as they were taking, both of them. But Charlo was the champion, and in that fight, I didn't see that Harrison took it from the champion. So they gave the fight to Casemiro because he was showing aggressiveness. He was trying to make the fight. But did y'all also see how many times he quit in that fight? When he couldn't catch Rigondeaux, he stopped walking. He quit. Kemp Wells in the building salute. He couldn't catch up with him. He was getting tired and he stopped. I mean, they had a lot of pauses in that fight that I was like, what are y'all doing? You know, but Casamore, he didn't want to chase him. So he'll say, oh, Rigondeaux ran. But last time I checked, don't all fighters run when they in training camp? Don't you run for like 8 miles or something? So why the hell you couldn't catch him? You running in the square circle. So is that a reflection on Rigondeaux or a reflection on Casamore? Because you running in a circle. One thing you didn't do, Casamore, is cut off the ring. And there were times when Rigondeaux had his back to the ropes. You could have been swinging like you swing on everybody else, but you didn't do it. So they gave you a break. You got lucky that you got to keep your belt because technically Rigondeaux won. But again, you was the aggressive person, so okay. What's up, Reggie Bell in the building? Full disclosure, y'all, I grew up with this guy, Reggie Bell. So he said, judgment of the fights haven't been that way in years. So that's what was going on. Rigondeaux did do a lot of movement. It's called ring generalship. He was under no obligation to stand still and let you do whatever you wanted. He controlled you. He made you look mediocre. You were hacking. That's another thing. Did anybody see all the hacking in the corner of Casa Mayor? I thought he was gonna die back there. I was like, what is going on? I thought he was gonna cough up a lung or something. He was hacking something fierce. And I wish there was a way that Rick and I could have seen that. But Rick and I didn't seem overly concerned at the end of the fight. And Freddie, what's his name? Freddie Gray, I guess that's his name. Uh, he just was like, so like, explain yourself. I guess he was kind of asking Rick and I, why did you do that? Or do you think that's going to help you? Rick and I was like, y'all know what time it is? I'm paraphrasing. Y'all know what time it is when you got in the ring with me. So to me, the end all, the be all, Rigondeaux won that fight. But Rigondeaux, if you punch when you're in training, do it in the ring. Do it in the ring. So that way you ain't got to worry about nobody taking it from you. It is a business. If most of the fans' consensus is that you are a born fighter, you have to pay attention to that, Rigondeaux. You have to give that consideration because this is the first time I ever seen you headline a card. And you might have done that before, but this is the first time that I ever seen it. And I doubt you will be getting another headliner anytime soon. Good luck to you. If you like it, I love it. That's what I got to say about Rigondeaux. If he likes it, I love it. But Casimir, you are mediocre to me at this point. And some is fishy for you to go from 118 to over 140 in a matter of a day. To me, I don't even think if your stature can hold a weight of 118 and you're still healthy and everything, I don't even see how it's even possible for you to go up that high in weight. It just don't make sense to me. I don't know. What y'all think about the Rigo and Casemiro fight? Did it seem fishy to you? How much bigger Casemiro was the night of the fight? Are y'all mad at Ricky now for his performance? I laughed. I I I couldn't do nothing but laugh because I already knew that going in that he was gonna perform like that. I don't know. He moved good for a 40-year. But as a black fight fan, I always say he 167 or 132. He always say he's real old, but like probably nobody knows his real age. But it says he's 40. So Reggie Bell said 20 pounds is normal, but any more is always suspect. I think he was over 20 pounds though, Reggie. I think he was. I know he was over 140, and the fight weight was 118, so he was at least 22 pounds over. But you know what I'm saying, Red? Like a small body like that, they small guys, 118, and then some kind of way you over 140. I don't see it. I see it better if you 140 and then you could go up 20 or 30 pounds, not even 30, but 20 pounds or something. I can see that. I cannot see it from 118. What's really going on? Is his head growing? Because that's how I said, it's my opinion. I don't have no proof, but I've always thought Pacquiao used to juice in his career. And the reason why I said it, because his head kept growing. If you look at his head now compared to maybe 7 or 8 years ago, it's a difference. Your head just don't grow when you become an adult. It just doesn't do that. And Pacquiao's like a walking muscle. So it wasn't like he had fat. I understand when you get big because you got fat on you, but your head growing. So I don't know enough about Casa Maori to know if his head is growing over the years, but that would be a quick, easy look, I guess, going on YouTube. So let's move to the next fighter, Warren. Rasheed Warren versus Vasquez. That was a good fight. It was short, but it was good. Now, I used to watch Rasheed when he been on Showtime or whenever Adrian would fight, so I knew vaguely of him. But I knew he was a smaller fighter. I knew he could fight, but I seen him get beat before. Now, this Rasheed that showed up Saturday night, he was a beast. He was a beast. I could feel his punches way over in my house. You could definitely hear it. And he was bringing that punch from Mississippi, but he's so damn fast. But I will say that somebody who's just as fast and who could take a punch and can hit hard could probably catch Rasheed Warren because as he's doing his offense, he's wide open for a straight of any kind, in my opinion. But if I could build a fighter, I would take Rasheed Warren with all his talents. I'm talking about Nuke Warren, not the other Rasheed, but this Rasheed Nuke. Put him with the Rigo and build that. Man, they'd be fucking people up left and right if you could build a fighter. Rasheed did his thing. He had a dude doing the stanky leg when he was trying. The dude did not want to go down, but you could tell he was way out of his realm of comfortability. He was he was refusing to go down, so I give him that for having the heart. He didn't want to go down, but that punch, like I said, I could hear it way over here. I was like, damn. But that was a good fight, but it was short. So, I mean, but I liked seeing it, and I want to see more. How about y'all? Y'all like the Rasheed Warren fight this past weekend? It was a good one. I think for his comeback, I think Rasheed is like 34 years old. So for him to come back and show us Nuke, because I never seen Nuke. I just saw the other Rasheed. You know, I guess he go by two different people or whatever. But moving on to Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Aegis Kavalaskis, aka Mean Machine. Now I know a lot of people saw that fight, and a lot of people got to say some. They got something to say about Virgil Ortiz Jr. You say you got to watch the replay. Yeah, I read it. It was good. I did was I try to watch everything. I even try to go on that streaming app that they got called Fight FITE, where they stream some fights because I wanted to see the Franco and Maloney fight. I think it's called Franco Maloney 3, and I didn't get to see any of those fights. I also wanted to see the Nico Wasp, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But Virgil Ortiz Jr., okay, he's a good fighter, but I'm going to describe him like Floyd probably would, and I could be wrong, but I would say he looked like one of the fighters that Floyd would say no special effects. Because if I run down the list of things fighters has to do, I don't really see that in him. Why he is as good as he is because he's young. He's a beast. He's a warrior. He come to fight. He ain't bullshitting. Kip Wells did not see it was working. Yeah, Kim. I think people have put all of these fights up on YouTube because I was watching one before and I didn't even know these people were fighting. Half the people I don't know, but it was a lot of fights this weekend, and people are constantly posting them on YouTube. So you'll definitely be able to catch one. So everybody put Ortiz on the pedestal. I don't know, I had it mixed up. I For whatever reason I thought he had a belt because I always see him with a belt, but I guess he has a interim belt, and that's not having a belt though. Like this, in the WBA and whoever, I don't know what belt he got as a WBO. That's what it is because they keep saying he's gonna fight Terrence. In my opinion, Terrence to knock him out. Point blank. Period. Red, what you got to say about that? I don't know if you're familiar with Virgil Ortiz Jr. Even though you probably didn't see the fight this weekend, I don't know if you familiar with him. You can see the highlights because I think it's on the zone, and a lot of people don't have the zone. But He a good fighter. He rugged. He a beast. I mean, he's relentless. That's something I like. I keep saying the relentless fighter, this is their time. Because every relentless fighter I know comes up with the W every time. Um, he fights going forward. I don't think he can fight going backwards. Um, he's kind of like a brawler with a little bit of boxing, if that makes sense. And so if you put him in there with Terrence Crawford will wash him straight up. I believe that with all my heart. If you put him in there with Errol Spence, he will wash him. I would go so far as to say you put him in there with Keith Thurman. Now I know a lot of people don't like Keith right now, but Keith will wash him. Reggie, you gonna stop talking about my boy Terrence, the bum Crawford. No, he's not a bum, Reggie. But Crawford will wash him. Kip Wells. Why does it seem like boxing is dying? No good fights. Actually, Kim, it do seem like it's dying, but then again, that's why you got to change your focus from the big ticket items and start watching the little ticket items because they can bring you pleasure too. I mean, I'm a boxing fan just like you, and I just want to see some real boxing. Hey, Kwani, Tashika Riley, it's my little sister, y'all. Thanks for coming in. Um, these fights this weekend, none of them was really a big ticket item, but they were interesting fights. They were interesting fights, and so if you love boxing, they can. It's a small consolation prize for the summer we had because you guys know that June we lost a TO fight that didn't happen. Then the one everybody was waiting for was the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight that didn't happen. And then we were like, okay, at least we get Spence and Pack, and that didn't happen. So it's a big letdown for the summer, but I'm surprised for this past weekend because there was a lot of fights, a lot of no names, people that we don't really know. And I enjoyed myself because there was some good fights. And the last fight that I'm gonna talk about, that is a good fight. And it's on YouTube now because I was kind of watching it before I went live. Um, so Virgil Ortiz, he dug in deep. He got hurt. So for everybody who said Mean Machine won't shit, who turns for it? Who turns fight? Mean Machine ain't nothing. Every time Terrence fight people, I do see this, and y'all know I'm fair. Every time Terrence fight, I see people say his opponents won't shit. But before he fight, they say this gonna be a big test, or they don't say that the opponent is not shit. Mean Machine is a force to be reckoned with. I'm gonna tell you his problem in a minute. But Virgil Ortiz Jr. is a good fighter. I'm a fan, a new fan. I'm not talking bad on him, but he not ready for no Spence or Crawford. He not even ready for a Jerron Boots Ennis out of Philly. He not ready for him. Reggie Bell said the best part about Bud is management. They keep him out of the good fights, keep him paid. Well, see, a lot of people would disagree with you, Reggie. Like they can't stand the fact that Bud is signed with Top Rank. They can't stand it. In fact, this is one of the driving points that probably make them hate Bud because they feel like by him signing with Top Rank, he ain't never fighting nobody of note. I can't defend you on that, Bud. It does look like that. You might have a good reason out there, but I wouldn't know as a regular fan. I wouldn't know. We can't see that reason. All the fighters you need to fight, who we want to see fight, is with the PBC. But the PBC and Top Rank don't get along. So these fights never materialize. And we putting the fault at Bud's feet. Bud got to, he got to do better. He got to do something. I don't care who he signed with. I'm not counting another man's pocket. I don't care who he signed with. But if it's preventing you from fighting the fights that need to be fought, it's a problem, bud. It's a problem. And I'm your biggest fan. And I'm telling you it's a problem. uh, Reggie said EJ and Bum Crawford, let's get it. Hopefully. Everybody's waiting for that. I got Bud in that fight too. Red. I got Bud. His reason is he can't beat them two fighters. All he do is talk. Who you talking about, Bud? Who can't beat? All he do is talk. You can't be talking about Bud. He said, "Shit." You cannot be talking about Bud. You can't be. Bud a beast. Oh, dude, come on, stop hating on Bud. And here you ain't gotta hate. You can call it down the middle. I got Bud. No, whenever he fighting, I got Bud. Doesn't mean I dislike any of his opponents because I don't. I really don't dislike any boxer unless they give me a reason to. But my dude, that's my guy. That's my guy. He gonna put a smile on y'all face when he do get in that ring and start fighting. Maybe he had to lay low and not rock the boat while he coming at the end of his contract. Now, if Bud turn around and re-sign with Bob, oh my God, but I don't know what to say. I'm gonna just have to look at you like you retired. But my point about the Virgil Ortiz Jr. fight versus Aegis Kavalauskas, aka Mean Machine. Mean Machine ain't such a bum after all, is he? Like everybody was saying, he's a bum. He's not a bum. Did he or did he not hurt Virgil Ortiz? Virgil Ortiz is a grown man now. You can't say he was a kid or anything. Virgil Ortiz only got like 3 tricks in his bag right now. I don't know what he gonna be, 5, 6 years from now. But he gonna have to have more than that because when I look at him compared to Boost Ennis will demolish him. You said Bud is a bum, sis. I got no respect for him until he fights top 3 fighters. You gonna see that, Red. You gonna see that. And you know what? You can have your opinion on that one. I can't defend some of the things that don't look like they can be defended. I can't defend them. But as far as a complete fighter, you cannot say Bud isn't. Earl is a complete fighter. Bud is a complete fighter. You cannot say that that's not true. But hopefully Earl can come back and fight the winner of Pac and Ugas. But I got a feeling if it's Pac, I don't think Pac really want to see EJ. So I don't know. I really don't know. We have to wait and see that. But like I go back to Virgil. Virgil got hurt in the second round. Now he got dropped, but I don't think they counted it as a drop. And I don't know why. He got hurt. And he got hurt a couple of times in that fight. So he's not invincible. And in my head, as I'm seeing him get hurt, I was saying one thing. If that was Bud Crawford, oh my God. I don't think he would have got back up. Bud would have demolished him. Matter of fact, during the fight, Bomac called one of the commentators of the zone, which we know is some guy named Sergio. The other guy name is Chris Mannix. I think most people are familiar with Chris Mannix. He called him, texted him and said that Bud would knock him out. Now, to Virgil's credit, he called out everybody. He said he want all the smoke. And I believe him. I believe he want all the smoke. But I would say to Virgil, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. If you want all the smoke, go fight Boots. Why is everybody like avoiding him? And I'm not saying Boots got to be a gatekeeper. Boots want the same thing you want. Both of y'all are hot right now, so fight each other. But they want to match him up. They say if he have a fight before he fight before he fight Crawford, that maybe he should fight Keith Thurman. And this is where I think is going. This is what I think is going on with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman fell off. I call it he got domesticated. I don't know why. Nobody would know why. This thing's going on in his life or whatever. But we cannot say that Keith Thurman didn't lay that foundation down. Keith Thurman was a beast before he fell off. So somebody like a Ryan Garcia who like to talk shit ain't laid no foundation. You know, it's apples and oranges. When you talk about some fighters against another. Keith only lost one fight, and that's to Pacquiao. And if you're gonna lose a fight to anybody, lose it to Pacquiao. But they want to talk about when Keith fought Josecito Lopez, and Josecito Lopez hurt him in the gut. And guess what? Josecito do that to damn near everybody he fight. He's one of them fighters that you don't expect to really just rock you or something or crack you, and he does. I don't even think he's a natural 147 because I remember when he first started fighting in that weight division, it was like a fluke. He was a substitute or something, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll take the fight," and he hurt whoever he was fighting. I can't remember if it was Victor or Ortiz or Marcos Maidana, but he hurt him, and I think he won that fight. It was such a while ago, like at least 4 years or so ago. Reggie said, Bud isn't complete. How? Nigga, how he ain't? He ain't fight nobody. Shouldn't use Bud in your example. If it was Bud, blah, 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 blah. If it was Bud, the fight wouldn't off took place. The fights wouldn't have took place. Red, you don't like Bud, but you can't, just because you don't like him, you can't say he ain't a complete fighter. How the hell he ain't a complete fighter? That motherfucker he got so many bags in his tricks. I mean, so many tricks in his bags to pull from. How is he not complete? He fight going backwards. He fight off the back foot. He know how to full counter. He know how to parry. He know how to catch and release. He know how to slip punches. He know how to walk you down. He know how to, he's ambidextrous, so he can switch hands, leading hands, so he can go from orthodox to southpaw. What can't this man do? And he shows it in every fight that he's in. What can he do? But don't nobody like again, people is mad at Bud. If Bud was with the PBC and was fighting everybody and still kept his O and still was a WBO champ, y'all would love him. I understand. I understand how he moving in these streets. Don't nobody like it. I can't even defend him on that. And I don't try to defend him on that because it's irritating. Because all it means to the fans is we don't get no fights. But tell me how this nigga ain't a complete fighter, but other people are. You say I know how to that also, and I look damn good doing it against lesser talent. Come on, bruh. Come on. They didn't say Victor Poster was lesser talent when Bud faced him. And then if y'all get mad that he fought Indongo, who was he supposed to fight? Who was he supposed to fight? Somebody just because they hard or somebody who had the belts? Every fighter is trying to be a champion or unified or undisputed. And Indongo had 2 belts. Where else was he gonna get it from? When he's supposed to let Indongo fight somebody else and they get the belts and then Buzz be like, okay, you much harder. I'll fight you. He fought the person with the belt. How is he doing anything different from anybody else? The only difference with Bud is he's with Top Rank, and Bob Arum is a problem when making fights. Because Bob don't want none of his fighters to lose their title. And the problem I have with Bud signing with Bob, I don't care about his money or how he's gonna make money or how that you know come to be in the contract. I care about what Bob said, and I ain't gonna forget it. He said black fighters don't sell. And what you not gonna do is disrespect my black dollar. That's what you not gonna do. And so any black fighter that signs with Bob Arum, beware because that's what he think about you. You're black and you don't sell. I'm not saying Bob is racist. I'm not even on that tip. I'm just saying this is what he believed. And then you hear it echo through other people, like Triple G's old trainer that he wound up firing, that Latino guy, I guess he was Mexican. Black fighters don't sell, really. The biggest fights that ever sold always consisted of a black person, to my knowledge. I mean, you talk about Mike Tyson, but let's talk about relevant now. Floyd Mayweather, who sold more than him? Pacquiao by himself, and this is one of this. He was in Bob's stable. Pacquiao by himself could never even match or come close to what Floyd was selling. So when you say black fighters don't sell, what the hell are you talking about, Bob? And then why you as a fighter will want to go sign with him? That's the question. He said he been in the game long enough now to be fighting up top fighters, and he not. It's not that easy, Red. It's not. His problem is, which I give everybody, is that he is signing with somebody who is stifling him, and he's allowing that. So you're complicit with the stifling, meaning you're not getting fights because you know how Bob get down. But Bob could turn around and be somebody who worked with the PBC, who worked with Golden Boy, who worked with the Zone, and worked with Triller, and worked with all these other promotional company or TMT, and just make the fights that we want to see. That's Bob. That's Bob. And maybe Terrence felt some kind of loyalty because when he was trying to break into the boxing business, nobody gave a damn. They probably felt he wasn't a person that they could market. But who did? Who showed them that they gave a damn? Bob. That's why he went with him. Probably didn't help hurt that his best friend in Timothy Bradley, I think, was signed with Bob. Bob Arum owes Floyd Mayweather 11 million, according to Floyd, for the Zab Judah fight. Floyd said this a couple of years ago. He said he still owe me 11 million, and Floyd was acting like I'm not even gonna try to get it. I'm sure Floyd want his money, but at the same time, Floyd ain't gonna break no sweat trying to run down Bob to get some money. His mandatory is his strongest fighter to date, in my opinion. Once he fights Porter and up, I'll give him respect. You ain't gonna give him respect for Mean Machine. Mean Machine just fought this weekend. Everybody, you know, putting Virgil Ortiz Jr. for fighting him, giving him some props for fighting Mean Machine. Mean Machine problem, in my opinion, is he's a muscle head. Like, I I don't know this for a fact, but he looks like he be in the gym just pumping muscle, pumping iron. You know what I'm saying? You can tell he gets some of that muscle formation from pumping because it's thick. It's not like on a thin type basis. I know he lifting weights, and that's not good. That's not good. I don't know to what level or how much he's lifting weights, but I can tell he lift weights. And Mean Machine gasses out. If Mean Machine could last through the whole 12 rounds at the pace that he is in the beginning, so he's more like a front runner, he will give anybody problems. He will be a force to be reckoned with. But we're gonna put Virgil Ortiz on top of that mountain because he beat Mean Machine. But we can't put Crawford up there, and he beat Mean Machine first. That it got to make sense, dog. And Sean Porter, watch how Crawford deals with him. Y'all just gonna have to see. If I'm wrong, I will come on here and say, "Damn, whew, I called that one wrong. I was wrong." I don't mind saying I'm wrong, but I can almost bet I would not be wrong. Crawford gonna sit his ass down in the grass. He gonna knock because Porter is wild. He has a football like I wouldn't even call him a boxer. He's just wild. He's rugged. He's wild. What I will give Porter is no matter what style you have, he gonna make you fight him. So that Casamara Rigondeaux that we was talking about in the beginning of the show, That could never be Rigondeaux and Porter if Porter was his size, let's just say. And we know that he can't because Porter's a big dude. But if Porter was Rigo style, Rigo couldn't, I don't think, could get away with doing what he did in the Casimiro fight, like the ring generalship he did. Because Porter will make you fight. He will hunt you down and he will be all on top of your ass. And Rigo will have to stand there and fight him. So I give Porter that. But Porter is reckless. He cannot outbox Terrence. I don't even think he could outbox Ugas. And to be honest, that fight to me was at best a draw. But I gave the edge to Ugas. But of course, they said Sean won. I wasn't mad because it was just that close. But I gave the edge to Ugas. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but Porter tried to box Ugas, and no, no. If that was his boxing, there's so many other pure boxers. Hell, the guy from last weekend, August 7th fight, the one we was on here advocating for, Mikhail Fox, boxed better than Porter. And he's in the same weight class. That's why I mentioned him. He boxed better than Porter. But he's a thin guy, and I don't know what all that aggression that Porter brings would do to somebody like Miguel Fox. But I'm sure he's not scared to find out. So all in all, Virgil Ortiz did a good job by beating Mean Machine, but Mean Machine hurt him. So if Mean Machine hurt him, you already know what Crawford gonna do. You already know. So don't fake the funk. Moving on to the other fight that we seen, Gary Antonio. I think it's Gary Antonio Russell. I'm talking about the smaller guy, the 122 pounder versus Rodriguez. Man, Gary Antonio Russell and his opponent Rodriguez suffered a severe headbutt. And I was wondering, do they do 5 minutes for headbutts in fights? Because the referee had to stop it, and he was severely hurt, and it was a lot of blood coming out at first. But once they talked to them after the fight, both fighters said that they want to run it back and they want it as soon as possible. What was so disappointing, you could tell that Gary Russell wanted to, he was sad. It probably took everything in him not to drop a tear. He was really sad. And the other guy was sad too, because they felt like they didn't want to waste their conditioning. They did a lot in training camp to prepare for the fight, and for it to be over in 16 seconds, they couldn't. That was a sad thing for both of them. So I don't know. Maybe they can jump on somebody else's card because it's a lot of fights, believe it or not, that's coming up in this next month, in a couple of weeks. Um, Reggie said, "I'm gonna record that show. Laugh aloud. You right? Porter gonna make him fight. Nobody has made Bum Crawford fight, even if Porter lose, but gonna be exposed if he don't show up and show out. I'm not worried. Porter gonna run into some shit like Marquez made Pacquiao run into his punch. Because what you can't say is Bud don't have time. You can't say that. You can say that about Porter a little bit, but you can never say Bud doesn't have timing damn pat. Now Bud knows how to time shit. And matter of fact, he takes data from his opponent in that first round. Sometimes he figured it out by the end of the round. Sometimes it take 2 or 3 rounds. But the whole time, Porter is not ready for Crawford. I ain't gonna say he not ready. He ready, but he gonna get dealt with because Crawford gonna sit him down. I'm telling you, he gonna run into something because he cannot outbox Crawford. I'm hitting the table. I'm sorry. He cannot outbox Crawford, but what he could do is he could be real aggressive and be on top of him. He put up a good fight with Earl Spence. Because I mean, I was even looking at Earl's face after the fight. I've never seen Earl face like that with any other opponent. So I'm not knocking Porter. He's a rough, rugged guy, and he will be on top of your ass like white on rice. But Crawford got timing. He ambidextrous. He know how to do a whole lot great. He got more tricks in his bag than than Porter do. And Bud knows how to use it. It ain't just he. It ain't just that he knows where to fight a person like Sean Porter. I should back up and let him run into something, or do a lot of check hooks. It's not that he don't, that he just know these things. What it is he executes them. Most fighters know shit, but they don't execute. And Crawford, he's an executor. He will execute everything. So we'll see, Red. I would say let's bet, but I don't know. I don't like betting with dudes. I don't know what to bet you. Cause I'll see you in a few. I don't know when the next time I'm coming up to Virginia, but I'll be up there. I don't want to take your money. That's what it is. I don't want to have to take your money. And that fight is going to happen because the IBF gave him 30 days to make a deal or go to purse bid. Reggie Bell said, "I'm looking forward to the fight because it's going to show what Bum Crawford really has." Okay, okay, we're gonna see. Now, if you wrong, what you gonna say, Red? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You come on here. You came on my channel with this blasphemy talking about Crawford. What you gonna do when you turn out to be wrong? I know you're gonna be wrong. So I know you're gonna be wrong. Uh, so okay, but that's all we can say about Virgil Ortiz. Virgil, try to fight Boots Ennis. And if y'all thinking that Keith Thurman weak, I'm gonna say this is the part of the show where I tell you can talk about anything you want as long as you correlate it back to boxing. Keith Thurman has been looking like he's stomachy because that's what everybody say. Keith Thurman got a weak stomach. I said something in the previous video about meeting Keith Thurman, and I told y'all the boy can eat. I seen it for myself. The boy can motherfucking eat, right? And I don't even know how one person consumed that much food and still, because he wasn't. I can't say he was big that day. I was at the Pacquiao Floyd fight, but anyway, someone that's listening, your stomach is weak or can't take punches that much because you probably have a chemical imbalance in your digestive tract. I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but I have experience in this. What happens is the food we eat does affect all of us. I'll repeat, the food we eat does affect all of us. Now, how it affect you or me or somebody else is is different because we are uniquely different. But depending on what you're eating, and if you're not eating a clean diet, let me just say it like that. What people call clean is two different things, probably from what I'm calling clean. Clean is what God intended, a nutritional diet. That means you eating vegetables and fruits only. Anything that grows out of the ground or off a tree, that's what you're eating. That's a clean diet to me. You won't have no stomach problems. But if you're a person who, you could get in shape because you went through training camp and you know how to get your weight down and all that. But before training camp started, you was eating bullshit like pizzas and steak sandwiches and just going ham on the food, you know, because you feel like you can. I like that type of food too, so I ain't gonna be a hypocrite. But if that's the way you eat, then your stomach, you're gonna have stomach issues. Put it that way. I ain't gonna go in depth because I'm about to get geeky on y'all, and I know y'all don't want to hear that shit. Some of y'all don't, but I can get geeky, and sometimes I will. Reggie Bell said, "I don't know if Bum, talking about Crawford, will win or not this fight. So I wouldn't bet on this one, but I'll come to Georgia and we can figure something out." Now I'll wait till you talk heavyweights. Um, there's not much to say. We waiting on the Deontay Wilder fight. It was postponed to October 9th. I'm supposed to be in Vegas actually that week. Will it happen? I don't know. I'm not gonna put no credence into it because I don't know if it will happen. But back to the stomachy issue. So if you have a stomach issue, like I said, is 9 times out of 10 is what you ate. Um, that type of food could cause an imbalance. Now, the way to check it, there's a way that you can check it. There's a test, and you don't have to go to the doctor. Now you can have them send you the stuff to your house because you basically gonna have to poop in a little specimen cup and then send it back to a lab and they can test it and they'll tell you what chemicals are imbalanced in your gut and they will give you medicine to fix that. So let me just say this. I'm gonna say this and y'all don't try to beat me up for saying it. More than likely, 9 times out of 10, the chemical imbalance or the chemical that you're gonna find that come back that says it's imbalanced, it's gonna be a yeast. It's gonna be a yeast problem. Now I know a lot of men said we don't get yeast problems. Yes, the fuck y'all do. Yes, y'all do. Yeast infections can happen or yeast issues can happen for a lot of reasons. It's not just from sex. It can happen because your underwear too tight. It can happen because they change up the medicine you've been taking. Like how many times people on blood pressure medicine and go to the doc and they change their medicine. That can give you a yeast issue. Just getting on medicine can give you a yeast issue. Being in certain toxic environments can give you a yeast issue. There's so many reasons why you can get a yeast issue. And people, you know, partake in yeast products. If you're eating bread, damn sure if you're drinking some alcohol of any kind, you're getting yeast in your system. All it takes is for an imbalance to occur and you'll have a problem. Now, for girls, we have a whole aisle in the grocery store dedicated, or even in small little stores where we can pick up a monostat 7 or something. And we think just because we cure it down there in our private areas that we took care of the problem all over. And that's not true. If you ever had some kind of yeast issue, it's in your gut. That's the main place it's at. If it manifests in your private areas, for females, we call it yeast infection. But if it do be on men's private areas, they just can't tell. But it's in your gut. If you have a yeast problem and you ever had one, like you could have had a yeast infection in your 20s, talking to the ladies, and you ain't never have a yeast infection again until you almost 50. Guess what? If you didn't take the pills to cure it from when it was in from your 20s, like because it was in your gut, if you didn't cure that, then you still have that issue. And it's easily cured. It's easy to cure. So don't. It's not a shameful thing because, like I said, you can get yeast any kind of way. But more than likely, he has a problem. He has a problem, and that's what I see when I see fighters who are stomachy. You have a gut problem. It could be yeast. It could be another chemical, but yeast is probably the common denominator. Oh, and one fun fact that a lot of men probably don't realize: yeast kills sperm. It just does. So if you have it on you and, and you do your thing, it'll kill all that. It kill it all. Ain't nothing penetrating through that. Let me just say it like that. So anywho, that's my little fun fact that I just throw in there. But Keith Thurman, he's stomachy now. And that's why. And like I said, having met him and seeing how much he eat, I know he got a problem in his gut. And he just need to fix it. And then that problem would be fixed. And maybe because he's stomachy, he don't have the confidence that he used to have. Because he's a very confident guy. And maybe through that and the injuries, I don't know. But Keith, everybody coming for you. So you be ready to show and prove. It might not look like somebody you got to fight because everybody got to fight now. A schedule, whether it's been postponed or not. But you and Devin ain't getting no fights. We know why Devin ain't getting it because people avoiding him. But why you ain't getting it, it's a mystery. And people just tired of you, Keith. I still love you, Keith, but as a fan, I still love you. But you made some weird moves in these streets, and they're holding you accountable. But good luck to you. So Virgil Ortiz, even if he went to fight Keith Thurman, depending on what Keith he get, I don't even say. I have to give Keith the benefit of the doubt. Keith, I'm gonna say 70% chance that Keith will beat Virgil Ortiz. And because Virgil Ortiz is a great fighter, he's an up and coming fighter. I even believe that in the future he will be a Hall of Famer. I'm going to give him a 30% chance against Keith Thurman, but I don't really give him a chance against Bruce Ennis. So if you really about that smoke, Virgil, then call up Boots. Like we said about the Gary Antonio Russell versus Rodriguez fight, they um they bump heads 16 seconds into the fight. There's nothing really to talk about other than the fact that they both wanted to run it back and that they was genuinely and sincerely sad. So let's get into this Gutierrez versus Renee Alvarado. I know a lot of people was waiting on this. I'm thinking this was their second fight, I believe. Um, in my opinion, Renee Alvarado won, but it was kind of like the same thing with the Rigo fight. They gave the fight to Gutierrez, but he had the title. So I will say that Ray didn't take the title. They had a tremendous second fight, the fight they had before this, but neither one of them wanted to engage on that level this fight. And I saw some highlights. It was somebody put together a nice little reel, and I but I saw the actual fight. So Renee was trying; he was the aggressor the whole time. But Gutierrez is not bad at all. He's not bad at all. He was comfortable. He sat back. He didn't panic. He counterpunched. You know, he walked him down a little. He backed up. A little. Renee, you got to have some better defense because you kept getting popped, and you was worried about that, and you could tell that you was worried about that. Reggie Bell, you say I'm talking about KT, and you talking about Keith Thurman, right? What about him? And won because that was a fight when neither one of them outdid the other. Like that, you can't say that Gutierrez, you know, just went to work on him or Renee went to work on him. You can't say either way. But I'm not mad. Again, Gutierrez was the champ. Renee, I can't say you took it from him. So I'm not mad at that decision, even though I thought you won. Now your twin brother, Felix Alvarado, on the other hand, versus Israel Vasquez. My goodness. That dude can do a lot at that small weight. He don't even look like a little guy, but he don't look as little as what they said they had to weigh in. Because if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me. They said the weigh-in was 108 for Felix Alvarado. Hmm. I was like, wow. But he beat the brakes off of the guy Israel Vasquez, and he did it in the first round. Like that dude was so beat red, it was ridiculous. I was in there like, ref, stop it, because this dude ain't gonna make it. He's another one that hit so damn hard. I heard it through the I felt like I could feel it, like just watching it. Him and Rasheed Warren gave me that same feeling, and they both little guys. Wow. Um, Now I'm gonna move on because there's not much to say about it. He waxed his ass, and that was that. Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of Muhammad Ali. So we all heard of Layla. Layla has an older sister, by the same mom, and Nico's mom is that woman. I don't know her name, but she's his son. Now, Nico is signed under Top Rank, and he chose as his trainer Sugar Hill. I don't know if Sugar Hill, I don't think he was old enough. Maybe like Sugar Hill inherited the gym and took over for his uncle Emmanuel Stewart. So I don't know if Emmanuel Stewart was profound in Muhammad Ali's career or not. I know he was around during them times, but I don't know what made them. The reason why I said that, I don't know what made Nico pick Sugar Hill because everything he seemed like he wanted to do is traditional. Now he fought a guy named Jordan Weeks. I don't know about Jordan. I don't, maybe this was Jordan's pre debut as well. This was Nico's debut as a professional fighter. Um, he beat him in the first round. He caught him. He caught him. It was no special effects, just 1, 2, boom, just caught him. and he knocked him out. He hurt him. Now, again, I don't know who Jordan Weeks. I'm gonna look up his record after I get off this line and see what was up with Jordan Weeks or whatever. But Nico beat him down pretty good, real quick. He got a long way to go. We don't know. We can't really assess that one fight, but I know he wants to do well, and he wants to be a boxer, so that's good enough for me. We'll see, you know. And he does. I don't think he wants you to give him any favors or anything. Like he do talk about his grandfather because he know he can't get away from that. Every time he do an interview, somebody's gonna bring him up. But I think this young man wants to prove who he is. And his mother was on the side recording with her phone. She was so proud of her baby. Oh, and so that's it's not much to say about that fight, but congratulations to both of them, and especially Nico Ali. So then we moved to Franco versus Maloney Three. Now this is a fight I wanted to see. This was for the 115 pounders. I wanted to see this fight so bad because the injustice that Maloney received in their second fight, I really needed to see him get some redemption. Now it's crazy. That's the one and only fight that I saw where they can review the tape and change the decision, like on spot. But you're not supposed to wait too long. You know how like in football, they go back and look at the tape and then they be like, oh, okay, and then they come back and either change it or keep it the same. Well, in this fight, they said that they can do that, but I haven't seen any other fight do that. But I remember distinctly because I was like, what? They can do that now? That's gonna help a lot of people. Um, the debate in the second fight was the hit was the cut on his head due to a headbutt or was it due to a punch? And I can tell you right now, I looked at that fight and it was due to a punch. So they reviewed it. Even the commentators, everybody was like it was a punch. But for some reason, they said it was a headbutt. So based on the rules, the fight could be stopped and it was either a no contest or no decision, which Maloney was pissed. I think he's from Australia or wherever he's from. He traveled a long way to be there. And this was during COVID. This was like in the middle of COVID where, there was no audience or anything because the person who was reviewing the tape was Richard Byrd, the referee that ref in the Conor and Floyd fight. It was that guy and somebody else sitting next to him. It was two refs, and they was looking at it, and they came back and said it was a headbutt. But I promise you, I saw a punch, and to me, Maloney should have won. So he was pissed. Oh, he was mad as hell, and I'm glad that they ran it back. But this time, Franco was prepared for him. This is what we was talking about with Mikhail Fox and Gabriel Maestri. Why would you do a rematch so that this dude can be prepared for you when I whooped your ass the first time? That's basically kind of what happened right here with Franco and Maloney. That's why we're against the rematch. But Franco won, so I guess kudos to him. Then there was a fight called between Joshua Buatsi versus Ricardo or Ricard Volodnix. I hope I'm saying that name right. 175 pounders. I was watching this fight before I signed in, and I thought it was a good fight. That was a good fight. Now that's something y'all can go back and watch. They're not elite fighters; they're up and coming fighters, but it was a good fight because they was giving and taking. And but I see proved to be the victor. So that was a good one. I haven't finished watching it, so I don't have much to say. I was skipping through it to see, who was probably going to win, but I think I see one. But again, like I said, when I get off this live, I'm gonna go try to watch all these other fights that I didn't get to see. And there's an app, and it's probably on your smart TV called Fight. I don't know if you have to pay for it, but considering that I have all these pay channels, Like I got DirecTV, I got Netflix, I got Hulu, I got Voodoo, I got Amazon, I got Disney. I don't need nothing else to pay for per month. I got the Zone. I don't need nothing else to pay for. So it looked like you might have to pay for that. But some of these fights were on it. Like the Nico fight was on there. He was under the Franco and Maloney 3 card, and it was somebody else on that. You know, I don't know him, but like I said, this was a weekend full of fights. You had Showtime, the Zone, Fight, the app, FITE. Well, there was other fights in other places too. It was a weekend full of fights. So for the fan, it's a small consolation prize for us, but it'll do. It'll do. I had a good time watching these fights. Um, and you guys, when y'all go back and watch them, you'll find that you had a good time too. But some relevant news. I'm gonna leave you with this question before I get out of here. So, do y'all think that we as fans should advocate that females should do 3-minute rounds? Maybe not 12 rounds, 10 rounds, but 3-minute rounds. I want to know what y'all think. And y'all can bring this up in my shows tomorrow or whatever. But this is something that I'm thinking about all the time. Because you know why? When I see females fight, it's like they in a phone booth and they just fight, 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 fight. They brawling. I don't want to see that shit. I want to see boxing. I want to see strategizing. I want to see setting traps. I want to see lateral movements, angles. I want to see working out the back foot. I want to see check hooks. I want to see ring generalship. And when you only got 2 minutes to get everything done to win the round, that leads them to believe that they just got to be up there and headshot all night. You don't never see no side punches to the gut or whatever. Understand that we have breasts, but I don't know. I don't know what the gear is when you putting on your gear to make sure that they okay. Somebody like myself probably it's not practical for me to be in there, but most of these women are not top heavy. So Drew Titan says the science has said the female cranium is not the same as men, so longer rounds equal more damage. Hmm, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Some women will make that statement seem untrue, huh, Drew? I didn't know that because I don't think they make a difference when you formally fight in like mixed martial arts or karate. I know they didn't do it for me. And I was like I said, I fought when I was 11 and I was fighting women that was in their 20s. Scared as a yacht. I was scared. But I knew I had to do it. I wasn't gonna run. And I shot up, so I was about their height. Um, but they was hurting me. I came in third place. I just knew I was gonna come in first. Because I just had the will. I just felt like I could whip their ass, but I came in third twice. So I hope, but I still advocate because it will always be that woman that can do that. I don't think they should. Drew, you see how they fight now? 2 minutes of hitting their opponent in the head. That's why they don't really last all them rounds. But if they had time to sit back, strategize, I just be like, because the damage gonna get done anyway with all that hitting in the head. Take a punch. Yeah. And then think about all them ass whoopings. Nah, I was gonna be funny. I was gonna be funny. I'm gonna say it nicer though. Think about women who be getting beat by their significant other. Like that's a problem in America, but that's a worldwide problem. Women who get beat by their dudes, and look how long they last. These some troopers right here. They raised like 5, 6 kids. Back in the day, like 10 kids, and we get constantly getting their ass whooped. And them dudes don't be holding back shit. Yeah. Y'all husbands, what do y'all think? Because y'all don't be holding back shit, but I'm going to tell you, I wish a nigga would. Don't go to sleep, nigga. I'm telling you, not me. I think most of my boyfriends or ex-boyfriends knew that I will try your ass at night. Like what we not gonna do is I ain't gonna let you hit me and then go to sleep like a baby. That shit ain't gonna happen. And I remember when I was married, but getting personal a little bit. When I was married, and my I was on the phone with my sister, and she was screaming at me because she knew what I was gonna do. I came up in there swinging. I was bringing them shits from Mississippi, but he was scared of my brother. That's why he didn't swing back. But if if he wasn't scared of my brother, I don't know. I don't know what could have happened, but I was ready for it either way. Because I mean, you can get into a rage. It's not right. I don't advocate violence between significant partners or each other. I'm just saying it does happen. That's all I'm saying. It does happen, and I was one to swing. Matter of fact, my husband was in the military with me, and he tried to tell on me, and they laughed at him. I was playing innocent, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hit him? Why the fuck I'm gonna hit him? And in my head, it be like, bitch, when your ass get on. That's cold, huh? But no, what he did to me, I mean, I don't know no other answer for it, but I was wrong. I stand here and tell you guys on YouTube because I don't want nobody to walk away thinking I advocate for that. Y'all know know how it go down sometimes. Shit, ain't that right, Red? Layla thinks she can beat Shields. She do, don't she? Maybe she can. We would never know. We would never know. Layla is a woman of a considerable age. I don't think she wants to go back. Yeah, she don't. I don't think she wants to. But I would say like this: if Clarissa Shields laid her resume down and just had boxer, and it didn't have her name on it, so you didn't know if it was a girl or guy, and you just look at all her accomplishments, she should have PAC money and Floyd money, shouldn't she? That's how I see it. So that's why I say we got to make it fun. I don't want to see a fight where all you do is hit in the head because it's almost like you're saying only women can get hit in the head. Like the torso is off limits. And that makes it boring for me. It makes it boring for me. And then they just be going back and forth real fast. And I'm like, who the fuck can fight through that shit? It's like who drops first? And I don't want to see a fight like that. I want to see a boxing clinic put on. Drew Titus said both in their prime. I think I got Layla. I be saying that too. I be saying that too because Clarissa, she just don't have no competition. So I don't know. I think Layla had more competition during her time than Clarissa do right now. Nigga, there you go. You see this shit, Drew? You see what I gotta put up with? Reggie Thomason, Shields can beat bum ass. Whenever he say bum, he talk about Crawford. But this is shit I gotta put up with. Dude, stop hating on Crawford. Just stop. You can't like some of that stuff y'all mad at him about. I get it. I don't defend him. I'm his biggest fan. I pick him to win. Oh, no matter who he fights, and I'm unapologetically Crawford's fan. But I don't never try to explain shit I don't understand myself. Because I told you where it was with me and Bob. When Bob say black people can't sell, how dare you disrespect my black dollar? At that point, I don't understand any black person who signs with Bob. But I know sometimes sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do just to even get started off. But Crawford, this is not your situation now. You have a foundation. If he signs with Bob, he's not gonna lose me as a fan, but I'm gonna stop being pressed for him. Like, I don't know, it might be some weaning off period. Like I just have to wean myself off of him. Because I can't take it. I can't take it because Bob is stifling to a black fighter. He's gonna be stifling. And you have to Take a note out of Earl Spence page. Take a note out of Big Daddy Haney's page. Learn how to, bet on yourself and be confident that everything gonna work out for the best. But let me get to these notes right quick. So Drew and Reggie and Kemp and Tashika. So some commentators said some at the beginning of the Gutierrez and Renee Alvarado fight that I thought that you guys would be happy about. Um, the commentator said that the WBA belt is parasitic, and everyone holding a WBA belt should throw the belts in the trash unless they can clean their organization up. You know who said that, Drew? Chris Mannix. I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, what? It made me sit up because they was just talking. This was right before the fight. I wasn't paying attention to that. And then when he said that, I was like, what? They was shitting on the WBA all night. What else they said? They said the WBA have 40 something belts in 17 different weight classes. Now I told y'all in the previous video that the WBA said that they're trying to look for new judges. And I have advocated that all these judges and referees that are associated with these sanctioning bodies or boxing, period, if you want integrity to come back, and I think you will know this, make these people get background checks. Make them get a security clearance at a minimum. Because you know how overprotective a person is about their security clearance? Very protective. That means integrity comes back. I had a top secret SCI clearance the whole time I was in the Navy. And I'm telling you, nobody can make me step out of line. Even when I wanted to step out of line. Even when I wanted to do, like, fuck off and do some shit. I was like, because I know they're going to take my clearance. It is the ultimate act right. Seriously, and people be like, you crazy girl. I'm telling you, people will move heads and tails not to mess up their clearance. If you make people get clearances, because to get a clearance, you still have to go through the same place a person in the military got to go through. I don't care whether your job is private, CEO companies, or they ran by the government or whatever. Everybody get a clearance from the same place. Nah, no, Drew, no other broadcast spoke on it. That's why I was shocked. I sat up and I was like, what? They actually said throw the belts in the trash, basically saying they ain't worth shit. I was like, look at them. I guess they got tired of getting that tongue lashing from the LDBC 100. Because y'all was giving it to them. Got all of them shook. They making sure they dot every I and cross every T. And I love it. Love it. So shout out to y'all, the LDBC, because y'all was bringing the thunder. Y'all making people get act right. Can't do nothing but be happy about that. Yeah, that's how I feel. Because I know personally, for 20 years I had one. I know personally, you're gonna move heaven and earth not to fuck it up. And anything can fuck it up. Being in debt can fuck it up. And then the benefits of having the clearance. Because now you're going to get the WBA or whatever sanctioned body to pay for it. Now you can go pimp that clearance and get a job. What's the difference between having the clearance and not having the clearance, getting whatever job? Let me put it to you this way. I worked at Office of Naval Intelligence from 1996 to the year 2000, right? Was it no? 1999, I'm sorry. 1996 to 1999. And I can tell you, people, government buildings are always clean. They always clean because they have round the clock shifts of people working. Talking about in DC, right? So the workers in the Office of Naval Intelligence, that they were janitors. That's it. But they never had to do nothing arduous because, like I said, it was round the clock cleaning. But they were janitors. They was making over $20 back in 1996. You see what I'm saying? That now, what janitor that was making that kind of bread back in 1996. So imagine what they're working for now. But you had to have a clearance. You had to have at least a secret clearance. So I know that for a fact. Them janitors love their job. They was taking care of their kids with limited education. Some of them didn't even have a high school diploma. Who cares? They was making over 20 something dollars an hour, and they was working a full 8 hour day, a full 40-hour week. Come on now. And somebody gonna protect that with their life. Yeah. Checks and balances. True that, true that. So yeah, the Chris Mannix and the guy Sergio, the other commentator, to their credit, they shitted on the WBA. Um, it was another news that happened. Let me see. I said Chris is out, and they put a asterisk beside it. Yeah, Chris has said so they would be a belt, and he basically said, "I don't give a shit about that belt. I hope Tank don't either." He basically, I'm paraphrasing. He said, so because the fight, the Gutierrez fight and the Alvarado fight, Rene Alvarado, they were fighting for WBA. And guess what? Gutierrez, the belt holder, is from Venezuela. So you might as well call the WBA belt the Venezuela belt. Everybody shitting on them, and they got a union. Don't scare me. I don't know what the problem. Reggie, the WBO, and the WBC, that you should do a background check. And if you dare doing a background check, um, let's say, because you can do a background check without having to give a clearance. But hell, if you're gonna do a background check, I want to give a clearance. Make it worth something. Make them feel like they got something. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many other good things that can come with you having a clearance outside of boxing. But the beauty is that the sanctioning body paid for it. Somebody got to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time when you go to these jobs nowadays, they don't want to pay for it. That's why they scoop all these people right out of right out the military to get these jobs. So I mean, I don't know how that's gonna go, but I hope that they do that because to me, the integrity will come back because there ain't a person on this earth gonna make me mess up my shit. But anywho, thank you guys for joining in and listening. I try not to be too long. Oh, I went 125 today, 1 hour and 25 minutes. But I try to keep it short and sweet because I know most of the during the day there's a lot of other platforms that would probably be saying some of the same things I was talking about. I was reviewing the fights that happened this weekend, and others were too. So shout out to everybody. And when you know better, you do better. Thanks for coming in. Thanks to my little sister for dropping in and supporting. Thanks to my childhood friend, Reggie Bell. Thanks to Drew Titan. Thanks to Kemp Well. And thanks to whoever else may have dropped in and dropped back out. But thank you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed night.